We are live. Yes, I was rubbing my hands together because I was about to yoga fire all of you guys that aren't in this YouTube stream right now watching me. Regardless, today I feel like this entire week has been kind of crazy. There's been a whole bunch of fake news coming out. There's been a whole bunch of events here happening. I am holding the base down here all alone in Miami. We got some family here at the same time. There's a lot of things happening. If there aren't a lot of things happening in your life and you're not constantly busy, then that's a problem. That is obviously a problem. Busy is good. So whenever someone asks you and they say, "Oh, how are you?" you have to say, "I am busy." Of course, that's the only logical answer. Regardless, though, today is another canon event as I have brought on not only an individual who has an insane come up story, but this guy knows a bit about fitness. He knows just a little bit about fitness and about getting yacked, getting that yoke on, having that huge ninja turtle back, having those Popeye forearms. He knows about all these things, and he's got quite some roots in the industry, but at the same time, this is a man who knows about, what it takes, that extra 5%, so to say. So, without further ado, I am bringing on the one and only Coach Mayhem, Chris. Oh my! And he's got the hand sign going on. All right, we're both doing it now.
You already know.
How are you, man? What's going on?
I am doing great, brother. Thanks for having me on. How are you?
Absolutely. I am stressed in a good way. That feeling when it's like you have so much to do and you're like, I am so grateful that Christ is King and He gave me all this, work to
Right?
do and this mind for me to ultimately do all of it. But if you guys don't know, in the back in his computer over there, that's the real world, by the way. Open up.
Definitely
That's
is.
literally opened up, and I didn't even ask him to do this shit. He did it. I was like, "What is that blue stuff happening in the background?" And he literally opened it up. But Chris, obviously, this is gonna be the fitness themed, the real world podcast this time. So we're gonna blow it up, of course. But how did you find out about Mr. Andrew Tate, Mr. Justin Waller, this whole message in general? Or are you a natural? Did you just know about this stuff already?
I wish I could say I was that perspicacious to already have known about all this.
Mm.
I really wish it would have been around when I started business, but to tell you a little about it, I'm a fitness influencer. I work on social media a lot, so I do scan through from time to time to find content ideas in in a way. Give me like creative ideas for my next reel or whatever I have going on. And I came across this guy that reminded me of somebody that I hold really, really near and dear to my heart because of the way he spoke. And I'm referring to Rich Piana. Now, Tate and his no BS approach to everything really reminded me of him. So I immediately took to him and started listening to everything he had to say. And about 6 months in, I think that's all it took was for me to say, you know what? This is probably the business plug that I've been missing. And I'd be damned. It was like the key to the chocolate factory. So I haven't looked back since. I've been in for probably 18 months now.
Hmm. So that's a bit over there. You're OG. You got the OG stamp, basically,
A
of
little
being.
bit, a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah. That was when. I taught for people who haven't been in the real world before the name change and before everything happened. There was like a time before the ban, and then after the ban, and things were crazy before the ban. It was like,
Right,
when Apple first released the iPhone, it was like
right. It was
crazy.
not.
Yeah, it was insane. So for people who aren't in the real world, you guys don't even know about that shit. You guys missed out already once, okay?
Yeah,
Hopefully you're not going to miss out this time, you know what?
yeah.
But Chris, obviously, if you resonate with Tate's words, his mindset, and kind of how he goes about life in general, then I think that obviously there's something different about you in general, and the way that you were able to kind of take all the information in the real world, leverage it for yourself, kind of shows. So I don't even have to say anything about that. We could jump into that later on. But
Okay.
tell me a little bit about how you kind of got into fitness in general. Like how obviously this is the fitness themed podcast, but it wouldn't make sense without a hero story or a girl that might have broke your heart or whatever that happened. So how'd you find the weights, the dumbbells?
Okay, so I'll make this because it is a quite long story. You can go check that story out on my YouTube channel at Coach Mayhem underscore official because I don't have the
Gotcha.
20-30 minutes it would take for me to sit here and explain everything. So I did some brief time in the military. I got hurt. There was nothing special there. I'm not some war hero. I got hurt. I did just shy of my 4 years. I'm home now. I'm all banged up. I end up getting shot. I'm all screwed up, like on top of the military injuries. And when I tell you depression isn't a state of mind, it's your body telling you that you need to do better. I already knew that. I played sports when I was in high school, actually, as long as I can remember, honestly. And then being hurt, laying in hospital bed after hospital bed. And when I tell you, like, my heart stopped. Somebody gave me a whole bunch of drugs unknowing to me, gave me a heart attack. I died. I've been shot a couple times. I've been blown up, man. I've been hit on my motorcycle 3 different times, like 3 major accidents. I should be dead. Like there, I've had a doctor look at me in the face and say, I can't make sense of how you are alive. And just looked at him and told him I'm stubborn. I'm not meant to go with a smile on my face. I'm just that stubborn individual. So one of my mini stints in the hospital, I think this was when my liver and kidneys were failing. And that wasn't due to steroids or anything. That was because, again, I had stomach issues from being shot and all this. I couldn't eat. So I was eating or not eating and working out. And obviously that doesn't do your body any good. I got what was rhabdo. So I'm flipping through and I found these videos of this guy named Rich Piano. And he was telling me that if I did whatever it took, that I could overcome and that I could get to my goals. And you can still see, like, he's passed now, unfortunately. His anniversary of his death was just a couple days ago, but he played a huge role in me getting into the fitness industry. I never thought it would pan out this way because they were telling me I would be lucky to walk at one point after getting shot in one part of my life. So I'm sitting here in my stubborn mind thinking if I can just become a personal trainer, because obviously I hadn't been in the industry, I don't know. I thought personal trainers got paid well. That was a lie. So
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah,
that
I
was
was
a
about
lie.
to say. Yeah, that's all right. Okay.
I went to school for it and everything. Ended up dropping out. We won't get into that story. It was mainly because I was making more money than my teachers, but I was still not making what I should. Let's fast forward a little bit. I had the heart attack incident where like my heart failed. That was 2018, and that was a real low point in my life. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to grind. I've got to get out of this shitty area because I was not, like, my hometown is not where you want to be. I'm from
Hmm.
Dayton, Ohio. I was living in Cincinnati. Both of them are ghetto. It's
Hmm.
not good places. I mean, there's nice places in them, but I didn't live in those places. So I was around all the wrong people. And the best thing for me to stay out of trouble, stay away from drugs, stay away from all the bull BS was just staying in the gym. And on top of everything else, after all the injuries, this was what was making me feel like God. And I don't mean that in any disrespectful way. If God lives in me, I think I'm entitled to say something like that because what was driving me, what kept me alive all those times. So I kept going to the gym. At one part, I was going twice a day
2 a days.
for
Yeah,
about
yeah.
3 hours a day. And that, I mean, not only did I mean, I don't want to say I didn't have anything to do, but at this time, like I had started working for myself where I was working at Harley Davidson and I had the time to make it happen.
Hmm.
And then once I went full blast on my career, my company, and I didn't have to be in like a regular 9 to 5 job, I had way more time to dedicate. So that I spent like 2 years doing 2 a days that were like 3 hours a piece, like doing fasted cardio, learning everything I could, eating a lot and sleeping a lot because burning through massive amounts of calories. And that was making me feel so good that I didn't want to stop. And then I started realizing that I could actually make a career out of this given the fact that I had watched all those videos of Rich.
Hmm.
And every person that I've ever studied, like Tony Robbins, David Goggins, like I could go on and on and on and on and on. All these people have these heartbreaking backstories or what people would call heartbreaking. And I like to call that the forge. That's either going to make you somebody who's going to overcome everything mentally, physically, emotionally. Like that's what builds a man. And then I started realizing that my story isn't heartbreak. It's actually amazing because not only can I help people, but I can make my life mean something if I do what I want to do to the fullest.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized that I can monetize that. I can get people to pay me to just go make content. Like, and then I just started going harder. Like, I even moved to Florida on a whim. Like, I moved to Tampa, Florida, just like, yep, this is what I'm going to do. I had 8 months left on my lease in Fairfield, which is a little, like, supposed to be a nice area right outside of Cincinnati, like the city. And I'm like, I'm done. I'm done here. And that was the best move I could have made. I know a lot of people who have never left my hometown. I've moved all kinds of times with the military, and that was one of the best things I could do because when I did move, I had nothing but time but to focus on me, my career, which literally is me. Like, I get paid to live my life, lift weights, and eat food, and then document it so that I can help other people live a better life. And I knew that like 5 years ago. And I luckily, before my mentor passed, I had somebody really, really close to me who just passed last year, at the end of last year. He was a godsend. And so, like, I like to think like God put him in my life to help guide me because even though he's gone, I still know what he taught me. And it's still paying off to this day. Like, what he taught me to do and how to make money, it's still making me money today. And there's been times where I would have been absolutely screwed if I didn't have him in my life. So I cannot preach enough. Network, it doesn't have to be 100 people. You could have 1, 2, 3 people in your corner, one that's got money and knows what he's doing, and you're set, man.
Mm-hmm.
You are literally set. And that's why Hustlers University is so, or the real world, sorry, is so valuable.
Yeah, I always talk about how when students join, like I'm always curious with all these interviews that I do, like why are some of these 15-year-olds making 200K in 3 months?
Right.
Like why is that happening?
Right.
And other 15-year-olds are joining and they're struggling for like a year and 6 months to actually make $100. Like why is that happening? And obviously when I ask them, they're like, hard work, baby, you know, like it's just, you know, hard work and whatnot, which I believe, which I completely do believe. But a part of it is also, I think, like your base coming in. And I think you have like a really good base just in general. And that can mean a lot of things like life experiences, the suffering, like consistency, discipline. Have you at least like summited any of these mountains before? So I think that's why a lot of people, I mean, there's this separation between students within the real world. And I feel like you, because you already had these role models, you already had all this shit that you went through. I got shot, hit by, you know, I was in the military, you know, got hit off my motorcycle, I died, I woke up, like all this stuff happened. It's like, how can you not make use of it? I think it's probably very, very easy to leverage at that point. But being as you're in fitness, a lot of people think that the only way to make money is obviously personal training. So being as the title of this video is called This Shit Job Reprogrammed Him to make 10K a month, being as this is the title of the video, obviously the shit job that I'm referring to here is completely personal training. So but before I ask you like what that felt like and what you actually learned from it, I want you guys to just understand that any gym that you go to, you might see any of these fitness influencer gyms, and you know, you might see Chris Bumstead and these people in gyms and whatnot. There are personal trainers at all of these gyms, and their job is hard. That shit sucks. Most of the time, this is how it works. You go to the gym and you apply to be a personal trainer. If you're jacked, it even helps. I mean, why would you be a personal trainer if you're not jacked, right? But people apply to be a personal trainer, and then you have to go get clients. Now, if you can't get clients on your own, you kind of have to just walk around the gym and try to, like, I guess, annoy people a little bit, or try to, you know, famoose the situation where you find like a lamb in the midst of the gym who doesn't know what they're doing, and you're like, you know, let me train you, I got you. And that situation is very, very uncomfortable. I've seen it happen in person at many, many gyms. So think about that. And also, when you get your client, when you get that one client that's just walking around the gym and you finally influence them, the gym takes a cut of their services. So it's a pretty ruthless field. So if you think about it, you have to be in the gym all day, 12 hours a day. I mean, as long as you really can. You got to stay jacked, so you got to eat your meals, and then you obviously have to pay your bills. You got to have a car probably to drive to the gym. So you got to stay in the gym all day long, train new people with different personalities, entertain them at the same time as, you know, keeping them jacked, keep talking to them because you don't know, you want to make sure the relationship is good and you maintain them as long-term clients. So all this shit is happening, and then at the end of the day, the gym takes a big cut of it as well. It's like living in Canada. It just sucks overall. It's literally like living in Canada. So this is what I know. That's my personal experience because I've had lots of friends that did personal training. So these are the horror stories that they told me about. So maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but tell me what your experience was like in general.
You literally hit the nail on the head. Like, the only thing you didn't mention was the hours, because it's like 12-hour days, and then 9 times out of 10 you're gonna get an 8-hour day on Saturday. So there's no real sleeping in, there's no real going out partying and having fun. And then you couldn't have been any more correct with your depiction of that.
I'm glad. Well, how many years did you spend being a personal trainer in general?
6.
6 years. And
6.
and
Yeah,
well,
6.
you specifically told me it was boxing. It was box gyms or something about like what
Yeah,
gyms?
box gyms. So what I refer to as a box gym is like the big brand gyms, like
Like,
LA Fitness,
oh,
World
okay,
Gym, like things like
commercial.
that. Not like
Oh.
not like your bodybuilding gyms where everybody's in there as an athlete or a serious influencer, like what I'm accustomed to now.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that is pretty grueling. Like
I
for
mean,
really, I want you guys to understand this, that this is like the military of the fitness industry. Like it really is. And I've seen personal trainers that don't they don't even walk the walk when it comes to personal training. And you know, some of the time they're just good talkers and they
yeah,
make money. You know, they just get the people to do the exercises and whatever weird exercises that has nothing to do with gaining muscle. You know, nothing like that, and they still make money. So it really is a grueling, like it's sales, like military of the personal training of the fitness industry in general. But how did the real world obviously jump into this? Obviously, you've been inside 18 months, and to me, obviously, you mentioned a little bit previously that making content now is like it's your bread and butter. And I
hmm
think we know a little bit about making content. I mean, the Tate blew up, of course. Justin blew up.
definitely.
So, how did you end up leveraging it to your, advantage ultimately?
Well, it's not like, well, I'll put it to you this way. I had a lot of experience being very good in front of people
Uh-huh.
because of all that time being a personal trainer. So being likable and all these other things, those kind of already gave me the tools to kind of transfer into on camera. Now I just had to figure out how to monetize it. And then once I learned about affiliate marketing and all these other things, like I learned bits and little pieces of things on my own because I'm trying to do all this stuff on my own through what my mentor's teaching me. So at first it was a lot of grueling, like, oh, let me go Google this. And then, well, that doesn't sound quite right. I don't agree. Let me go find a YouTube video of another influencer and what they say. So that was crap. That sucked. The real Hustlers University, the real world, whatever we're calling it. I apologize. That
You're
that
good.
was instrumental because now I didn't have to go all over the place. They've added new things in there now, like I'm doing public speaking, and they have actually a content creation where you're learning not only AI, you're learning how to make reels, how to make them attractive looking. And when I say attractive looking, what makes you stop and look on a video? A lot of people don't even think about that. Like the psychology of things that goes into it, they teach you. They don't waste the time of like, oh, well, psychology says this, that, and the other. No, no, they get right to the point, and that's what I like. Like I spent a while in the military, and I'm a very, very tell me what I need to know so I can get what I need to get done, because I've got more tasks that I have to deal with. So the faster that I can acquire the knowledge to do what I need to do, the happier I am. And when I tell you that I would have given anything to have a resource like this when I first started my business 5-6 years ago, I would have given anything. Like, yeah, I won't actually tell you on camera because I don't want to get you banned, but literally anything, because it's been such an invaluable resource. And at $50 a month, it's a no-brainer. That age-old adage, what do they say? You got to spend money to make money. Well, $50 after I paid coaches $3,000, $5,000 to teach me basically like how to create an online course. Yeah, I was low-key kind of mad because I have all that and more right behind me. I was like, that's $9,000. I can literally account for $9,000 that I came up with, scraped, busted my ass for to get, like I legit did not have. And somehow I still made it all happen. And I'm grateful I did that, because I mean, still, like, I learned a lot, but I didn't need to pay that much for free college type deal.
Yeah, yeah, that's. I always want to go back to this, and I'm glad that like you at least found the answer to your problems within the real world.
Right.
That's the main thing. Because if you didn't, then whatever. Maybe you would have figured some. I think you would have figured something else out. Really, ultimately, you would have ended up in somebody else's podcast or something like that. But the main thing that I want to stress here is that I feel like you have the best base, like the best life experience when it comes to like taking advantage of these resources in general. So like when you got into the campus, I mean, let's talk about the content creation campus. There's many campuses within the real world, of course. And if you don't know about anything, link in bio, yeehaw, shameless plug. But you went inside what campus to start off with, and what was your progression between all the campuses? Did you like it? Did you like that it was all kind of organized similar to Discord? Like, how did you like how everything looked?
I actually love the fact that it was similar to Discord, because I use Discord now. As your thumbnail says, I have 800 clients.
Yeah.
So I legitimately have 852, since I checked this morning, clients, and growing on my channel that come to me for everything from meal plans. Like, I tell them that I'm the one-stop shop for fitness. Whether your hormones are out of whack and you don't understand why you have low testosterone, all the way up to meal plans, coaching, like you name it, I do it all. And it's been a blessing. So when they basically have their own version of Discord now, because I remember when it was on Discord, like I'm OG.
That is OG. Yes, that's why I said it, because OG, like you understand the progression of how things are much easier now. Like it was much more disorganized. Yeah, it was much more disorganized. Now it's like pretty much easy mode for finding all the different pieces that you need.
It's very streamlined now. Like it's very streamlined. Like a monkey could get in there and start figuring it out.
Mm-hmm. And so when you got into all the campuses, like
where did I start?
Yeah. Where did you start? And then was there a moment where, I feel like this happens to everybody, happened to me with the Business Mastery campus, but was there a moment where like you found something and you're like, shit, I just spent $9,000 these past 6 years, and like this is what I could have, $50, really? This is what I've been waiting for. Was there a moment like that for you?
There's been a couple.
I was getting
to to go back, to revert to your question, to tell you where I started, I apologize. I got off track. I get excited about things.
Yeah.
A lot of energy, man. I've got way too much energy. So I started off in the freelancing campus. I figured that's where probably my best base was, because what is affiliate marketing? What is selling online? It's selling with words. Mm-hmm. That's literally what copywriting and what freelancing is. So I started there with Dylan. And let me tell you, Dylan is awesome. Dylan's an awesome guy. He's hardworking. He is about what he says he's about. And then he's a rags to riches type of person as well. I would rather listen to a person like that, who's literally, you can see him putting in the work. I'd rather do that with somebody that's making money in the field than go listen to some teacher at some college who drives a Honda Accord that me, as a lowly student, I'm driving a Mercedes. Like, what? Make sense.
Something's going wrong, yeah.
So I graduated up, and then I went to, I've been in a couple courses, because so much has played into what I do. It's almost hard to kind of track back. Oh, the affiliate marketing campus that actually opened back up. Arno's in there briefly. I did a little bit of work with Arno trying to figure out some things about some different investments that I could get into now that I was making a little money. Shout out to Arno. You are the man, bro. Um, and then now this brings me up to the third thing I've gotten involved with was the content creation. Obviously, as a content creator, I need to know the ins, the outs. And again, I don't want to spend all the time that I was beforehand looking on YouTube, watching hours of video. That's so not worth my time.
Mm-hmm.
At all. So it's very unproductive all around the board. And if it's not paying me to do it at that time, I can't afford it. So having all this in one area again is probably the best tool that I've been able to have because again, like we said earlier, everything's so easy to find. And then I'm doing there's several parts to the public or to the content creation app. I apologize. There's actually like a speaking thing in it that I'm in now that they're very, very detailed about how you should speak and be on camera. And I absolutely love it because everything I'm learning directly helps me with what I'm doing for work and to further my career.
Mm-hmm. For sure, for sure. Well, what about how how this content kind of creating content? How did that kind of like change things for you in general? Because obviously you mentioned you have a community now. You have 800 people in your community that you I guess tell me more about the business. Like what is the business that you're kind of running here?
Man, it's kind of hard to describe in one word, but it's kind of like everything
I'll
fitness
give
in
you
one place.
two. I'll give you two words then. You're good.
Two words. If I had to use two words, it would be everything fitness.
Okay,
And this is why.
that works.
I,
That works, man. What are
I
you
know,
talking about? Okay.
but see, I know that sounds very vague and like I didn't think about it. But you got to think, I work in an industry where there is more lies than there's truth.
Yeah.
Now, with me and my story, I've used that to my advantage and monetize it because you can't fake my backstory. Like, bro, I've had whole holes blown through my body. Like, there's videos on the internet that keep getting banned because it's so graphic. So you're not going to sit here and tell me, and that's why I loved Rich too, because I literally just I was enamored with being able because I'm like I said, I was in the military. I'm so used to speaking how I want to speak, and then I get in the civilian world, and everybody's like, "Oh my god!" But if I do this in the fitness industry, people love me for it because I don't have time to bullshit you about you getting to your goals. Like I was just telling you that I don't have the time to search through YouTube videos and do that and do this. I found a lot of people feel that way when they've got a goal they want to accomplish. We do live in a very I want it now society, but there's still things that you can't just get now. It's not like I plugged a USB into my ear and then I just gained 10 years of fitness knowledge. No, I've been around the fitness industry for almost 10 years in some form or fashion.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a very hard road, but yet very rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
I want to mention that because anything that's worth having is not going to come easy.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of. Do you feel like your unique selling point, like to yourself as a I guess as an individual and for all of your clients as well, is the fact that you had those experiences? Like no one can take those away from you. Like
I
you can talk about stuff like the if someone asks you, hey, I want to know how to do a barbell row correctly because it's kind of a, you know, people are like, oh, do I bend my back like this? Do I bend my back like this? Am I parallel or is it like more upright? Like, how do I do this so perfectly? Do you think you can go more into the detail? Because there's also a very hard exercise because it challenges your like your spine as well at the same time.
yeah.
So do you think you're able to go more into like how suffering should feel, how it should ultimately like what the reaction should be afterwards, how you should be doing the exercises, like what you should be feeling, what the emotion should be going through your head, because you've essentially hit like the top of, you know, peaks when it comes to suffering, you know, life pain in general.
No. In some ways, it does.
Hmm.
I think it gives, if anything, it gives me more credibility because you can't argue with me.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to tell me? It hurts. Supposed to. Shut up and do it.
Right.
But see, also like that approach is,
It's very callous. Yeah.
yeah, and you know, it is, but yet these are your dreams we're talking about here. If Tate actually said it best, if Mike Tyson came in a room and taught me how to punch, even though I can fight a little bit, who am I going to sit here and argue with Mike Tyson, even if he does tell me in a callous way? It's Mike Tyson. You're going to shut up and learn. At least a smart person would, but that's how I am, given the fact of the military and that I've had a very harsh life. So I've found that the people who kind of are just okay with the trainers or the coaches who are like, oh, it's okay, you did a good job. Like, no, man, I'm not saying I need to be an asshole to get my point across, but I'm also not here to be your friend or make you feel good. Because if you come to me looking a certain type of way, I already know the type of person you are. Like, you haven't put the effort in, and you've had people basically what I call patting you on the ass for doing jack shit.
Hmm.
So why should it, what, like, if you're going to make a difference in your life, something different has to change. And if you can't handle being talked to in a certain type of way, like Mike Tyson would be teaching anyone how to punch, then stay a loser.
Hmm.
Because I didn't complain or yell when I was getting screamed at on how to shoot a rifle in the military. I knew that this was for a purpose, and this man is teaching me exactly what I need to do to save my life. And in some ways, I'm teaching people how to save their life. Like,
Hmm.
I've got one guy that's lost almost 80 pounds, and I've never coached him. He just watched my videos. Like, that means everything, because that was me. Like, that was literally me a handful of years ago.
Hmm.
So to answer your question in a complete manner, I believe that my life in general has given me more of a grounds to stand on, because I'm not like most influencers. I'm not like most trainers. I'm not like most fitness professionals you see. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, whether you like it or not, because, well, it's not how you get the things that you want in life. It's certainly not how I got to making the money I wanted in life. It's certainly not how I got to the body I wanted, because I had to look myself in the mirror, the massive gash in my stomach, and be unhappy for years and get fed up with it. So if you can't look in the mirror and want better for yourself, you need me to talk shit to you.
Hmm. Yeah.
You're not doing it to yourself. You don't even have self-love. So the way I go about things, the way I have a no BS approach, it gets me a lot of hate, but it also gets me more love than hate. So
I think I think that's you can't really argue with things that you have gone through, and
right,
at the same time, it's kind of I don't want to give this theory like a name, like the Tate effect or something like that. But I have heard people use this Tate effect terminology before.
right,
You can call it whatever you want: star power, magic shield,
right,
whatever term you want. But when you've been through something or you have suffered through something, even if it wasn't, an intentional decision to, and basically it's a situation where essentially 99% of the people on earth didn't have to go through that thing. That makes you a exceptional individual to some degree in that aspect of your life. So I think it's actually a very important thing that you can say, hey, like, what are you going to argue with? And you don't really have to open your mouth to people very loudly and start talking loudly. You can be like, yeah, bro, I got shot in the neck, went out the other side.
right,
What do you mean you can't do a body weight row with rings? What do you mean you can't
right.
do that? It's like, what, is it hurting? Okay, cool. You want to get shot? like reverse it back onto them or something like that. But I think that's very important, especially when it comes down to, I mean, this is your thing. This is fitness. This is your way of communicating to the world, and it's extremely important that you can talk from that perspective, because I think in your industry specifically, fitness, people like to open their mouths really, really loud and say, don't do this, don't do that. And that is what I'm interested in, actually, more so about your community. So like tell me about this community more so. Like, do you so you said obviously everything fitness, but like let's talk about like let's talk about business and stuff. How did you acquire like the community? Do people just watch your videos? Do you talk about it do you like market your community at all? How does that kind of all like work in
So,
general?
I mean, I'm kind of all over the place. I've got a work page, and then I have my page. I've got several fitness pages. I've got my YouTube, and then I'll always get people because I'm very, very open with everything that I'm doing. And so, of course, I'll get the DMs like, "Hey, coach," I'll get TRT guys asking me like, "Hey, coach, I'm taking this, and I don't feel good, or I'm tired all the time, or my estrogen's high, like whatever." I'm usually more thorough if they're not going to say like a TRT clinic, or if they are, like I've been in several situations where I've found doctors that are just selling them crap to sell them crap. So, and even in the fitness industry, again, I've found people who would go to other influencers and hire people. I mean, I get these guys from literally all over, like walking in public. They'll be like, "Hey, I follow you on TikTok," or "Hey, I've seen you on YouTube." And I'll just sit there and talk to them, or they'll see me in the gym and they're like, "Hey, so I've got questions about this or that." And I'm like, you know what? I get all types of guys like you. Why don't you just join this cool little Discord server, and then you can just hang out with all of us, and at any time you've got access.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
ironically, it was like I did the same thing Tate was doing, like, and I obviously he did it way bigger, but I was doing mine for fitness. So we
Mm.
kind of had the same, if you will, business structure. We were just kind of using our mouths, our content, our stories, and just making it work, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wish I could say I was coherent enough that I had this master plan worked out. I didn't. I literally kept doing what the Army told me to and putting one foot in front of the other and making sure that I was better than I was the day before. And then I've literally just knew that if I did that, everything was going to work in my favor because I'm doing the work. I'm doing what I'm supposed to. I've never known anybody to do the work and do exactly that and not get what they wanted in life.
Mm-hmm.
So literally, as dumb as that sounds, I just did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
There was nothing. There was no like secret. I didn't get given something. I did have a mentor, like I said, which I was very fortunate for. And I mean, he kind of gave me ideas and pointed me down the right path. All the time I would surprise him and be like, "Hey, bro, I figured this out." And he'd be like, "You took that and that of what I told you and then did that?" And he would just be mind blown. And like before he passed, his wife told me how proud he was of me. And, that meant a lot. So that let me know I was doing everything I needed to know. So I wish I could tell you that there was some plan, but
Mm-hmm. I get you. I get you. What about, so how does, and I don't want to dive too much into this because I don't want to talk about any specific one of your clients in your community,
right.
but how does the whole like business works for anybody who's like kind of curious on how you can go from a personal trainer to having your own basically kind of like super soldier army of guys where you can just, whatever, talk to them or invite new super soldiers in to learn. Obviously I have these screenshots and I'm curious on like this type of stuff. How does that work? Is it like a monthly? Do you charge like a monthly to stay in the group?
No.
Like if you guys see that right there, how does that work? Or is that kind of like, oh, you very specific questions, something like that?
No. So that usually comes out of sales.
Mm-hmm.
Now that could be they need products for like through 5%. So I do affiliate marketing as well on
Mm-hmm.
top of like I'll tell you this. I have this cool little ecosystem that I thought was just my master plan because everything I do plays into one of my dominoes. So it's just a continuous circle.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it be like I said, when I say everything fitness, everything from meal plans,
Okay.
cool. I can write you a meal plan, and then I also know the guy who's going to give you a discount to buy the meal plan prep food, who's going to give me a discount. I'm going to get affiliate paid, and then you paid me to write you the meal plan. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting paid twice off a lot of things I'm doing, and I guess that's where I was actually really smart. So I've always kind of seeked out the related things that I would need according to what I do. So if you're really paying attention, it's like be the best at what you do and everything that touches it.
Mm-hmm.
So if let's just say I owned a print company, it'd probably be a smart idea if I had some type of ownership or some type of marketing or some type of way I'm getting money off of the printers and the ink instead of just spending money to get them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically what I had figured out. So whether they're buying meal plans from me, they're paying for coaching. My coaching is monthly, and then I have programs where it's $1,500 upfront for 3 months. There's like a transformation package.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also have deals where people will use like aminos or peptides. It's not steroids.
Yeah,
Pay attention.
peptides. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's not steroids. There's a class of PEDs because they are performance enhancing, but they're amino acids and different things like that. Yes, human growth hormone technically does fall into that, but that's supplied by through another one of my people, Titan Medical.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another way I'm making money off of something that I may not have regular access to, but I do know the guy who does. So
Mm-hmm.
network is super important, and that's what attributes to that. It's literally network.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what happens, I'm either going to save you money and you're going to get what you need, and then I'm still going to make money in my situation. That's the perfect scenario for me.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you have like a sexy business? It's kind of a weird thing to say, but do you feel like your business is like sexy, or is it kind of just like just
A
people
little
all the
bit.
time?
No, it's sexy because I'm helping people accomplish their goals. I'm smiling when I'm doing it. I mean, it's an ego boost. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
even going to lie. Like, I started out, I was doing it all for the people. And then I started getting real, real good, man. I started feeling good about myself. And now, man, it's almost the messages I'll get of, dude, you have changed my life completely. I'm making more money now. I'm getting ladies. Ladies are paying attention to me. That's a big one for me. There's a lot of losers out there, man, and I love seeing, an underdog. Then then I have the people who will literally send me videos, or I can tell that they were crying when they wrote the message. It was that heartfelt, saying that their entire world has changed and
Mm-hmm.
everything has become better. I love that, man. That has far outweighed the money at this point, and I'm not even at the point of Jay Waller, but I cannot wait to get there because I
Mm-hmm.
can already tell how good that's going to feel.
Yeah, yeah. I really like how this is like different from everything that I've heard before. So I think only one other person that I've spoken to from the real world has talked about how it's actually helped with networking more than anything else.
Oh,
And when people think of networking, they might think of whatever of Andrew Tate's of his organization and whatnot. But we're not going to talk about that. But when I think of it, it's just your locality. You start with your locality. What's nearby you? How can you make the most out of what's nearby in your location? And I feel like you leveraged it very, very, very well. I mean, you kind of got the double famous going, where it's like the affiliate is my friend selling a product, but I get half of it because I did the affiliate for him. So now, but he also gets the other half. So it's a double kind of famous
mhm.
happening where I mean that's how family businesses honestly work a lot of the time, or
Right.
like when one, this is very traditional, but like when one son marry from a very like prestigious family marries a daughter from another family that's prestigious, and they have these like two family power unit going on. That's like you're making the most out of whatever you have in terms of just friends and people around you in general. And I think that's very, very underrated. Like it's a very underrated way to make money. And that's why I asked you, why do you think your business is sexy? Because for a lot of people, that kind of networking, they think it's not like a very, it's like, oh, it's not very cool to do that. Like you're intruding someone's space, you're intruding someone's business. But obviously it's not. It's not like that in
No, I
reality.
mean, in the aspect of walking up on somebody in the gym, I obviously don't do that anymore. But as opposed to what I do now, yeah,
Yeah.
it is sexy. Like, and then when you're happy what you're doing, people are going to see that.
Yeah.
So they obviously, to some degree, I know what I'm talking about, and that's what shines through, and that gets attention.
Hmm. So I guess one thing that I'm very very curious about like how you help people just outside of teaching them how to do perfect barbell row technique and things like that. But what about, let's like I want to know like a list of all these things, so in case anybody who's watching can DM you in the real world as well, and find out more about it. So you help people with obviously nutrition, help people with fitness. What other things? Like what's your demographic of people that you mess around with typically?
I wish I could say that I just help one specific person, but I kind of get people from all over. And I guess that's really starting to take shape more as I've been growing on social media that I'll get DMs about. And
Mm-hmm.
the demographic has certainly changed with me being more on social media. Let me put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
That I can't honestly nail it down. I've got guys, I've got girls, I've got older people, I've got younger people. I've also got people that have been hurt, and I've got older people that have been hurt. They may or may not come to me directly for coaching, but they may come to me like, hey, this happened to me. I know I need to lose this X amount of weight. I don't want to go starve myself. My doctor says I need to do this, and I don't want to take meds. I got people like that too. And I think that's attributed again to my crazy ass story, because people will see this. I've been on meds. I've been told I needed antidepressants. I've been told I needed ADHD meds. There's literally nothing that you could come to me and say, hey, I have to take this and it's contributing to this. So again, man, I think it was just my life story was the perfect firestorm for me to do something productive with if I let it make me instead of break me. If I
Mm-hmm.
chose to do something about it instead of being a victim to my circumstances, which again, I'm a hood kid and I'm stubborn as shit. You ain't
Yeah.
gonna beat me like that.
Yeah, and now you're down here with me in Tampa. So
Man, I'm loving it.
so
Loving it.
it's a different environment overall. Like how did location? I mean, I'm sure look. I mean, Justin talks about this all the time. I'm a very big proponent of changing your environment,
Yep.
like making sure that you're in the right environment to basically promise and ensure to yourself that like this life change that you're making is a permanent one. It's not a temporary one. But how did things change for you when you changed your environment? I mean, you went from Daytona to, you know,
Dayton.
yeah, you to like Tampa or some, which is a crazy place. But I
Right.
like the whole concept of Tampa in general.
So Dayton, where I'm from, let me correct you real
Oh,
fast. I
Dayton, yeah,
apologize.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm in Florida,
Dayton,
so it's
Ohio. Yeah, I
Daytona.
was
Yeah,
about to
yeah,
say
yeah, yeah,
Daytona.
yeah, yeah,
Daytona's got its bad spots. Don't get me wrong. Like sometimes I'm like, what the hell? This is not Florida. What?
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
Dayton, Ohio, where I'm from, is just it's trash, man. Like I can remember being younger when like Delphi, GM, Ford, big motor companies were all up there and people had money. They left and my city went to hell. And I mean, I was working as a fitness model. How many offers and gigs you really think I'm going to get in Ohio? So I can't agree more, because my like Justin, it was just the opposite. He was country boy trailer, and I had a little bit of that life too. But I was more like living in the hood. I hear gunshots on a regular. Like I can sleep to Cops. The show,
Hmm.
remember the show? I put that on if I'm in a new place. I just put Cops on and turn it down a little bit so it sounds like it's outside.
Oh, geez.
Sleep like a baby.
Okay,
But
all
no,
right.
me traveling down here, and I moved to Tampa immediately as soon as I saved up enough money. Like I came down here, I was like a snowbird, if you will. I was staying with friends, crashing on couches. I got around the money, and I couldn't leave. My first trip down here, I knew like I'm not. I'm gonna go home, run my lease out, and I'm done. Now I hustled my ass off. I had 7 or 8 months left on my lease in Ohio, and I just balls to the wall. I quit going partying. I didn't go out and drink. I mean, obviously, I used medical marijuana. We won't get into that. That was the only thing I was doing. I wasn't even taking girls on dates. I didn't care. I was going to get the hell out of Dayton, and that was the best move. I wish I would have done it sooner. I'm kicking myself in the ass because I didn't move sooner. I've been here for 3 years. I've done nothing but level up every year. Now, I did have a rough spot where I got hurt on my motorcycle, and then I hurt my other shoulder. So there was a year and some change that I've been hurt. I didn't lose any of my sponsors. I actually, in fact, got more sponsorships while being hurt, not being able to work out in my full capacity. Like, is that opportunity and being around the money is going to be a driving force. And I will tell anybody this, I'm very fortunate I was living where I was living, because Section 8 housing and being around people who will rob you just because you look like you have money or shoot you for it isn't fun. That's not a good feeling. Like, I was in the Army, I already dealt with this. I don't want to deal with this at home. There was no difference there. It was constant fighting, it was constant war. And now I get to fight for myself and what I want to do. I don't have to worry about these things. And again, being around money and being around successful people is a light switch. Again, I grew up in a very poor area. I was poor growing up. There was other kids in the house. I grew up with 3 other kids, and then my 2 brothers. So there was a lot going on. Broke. So that was the motivation I needed right there. And then getting around and seeing what money actually looked like and what people did with it, and just the insane, unfathomable amounts of wealth that I have seen is just, it's inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I can't say it any better than that. It's absolutely inspiring and motivating.
Do you for people who don't know what like Tampa, because obviously you guys see all this like Miami stuff behind me all the time. Miami's not Tampa. Tampa's
No.
not Miami. But like what kind of what like surprised you when you ultimately moved down there? Because I mean, if you already made the decision in your mind, hey, I'm gonna move here, then like what secured it ultimately? Like what secured that decision in your brain?
There was a couple things. I'm going to list off 2. One of them sounds ridiculous.
Chuck E. Cheese's.
One of them sounds ridiculous. I walked into a mall out here called the International Mall. And again, I'm from a bad area. So like, we knew things were getting really, really bad when our malls started dying, because we only had a couple left. I was a mall kid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm aging and dating myself here. I vividly remember that as a kid, but I walked into our mall. There's a Gucci store. There's a Louis Vuitton store. There's there's some shit I've never seen. I was like, oh yeah, this is it. And then the second thing was seeing the life, not it, because it wasn't the money. Like, understand, it's the freedom. I fought for freedom and I want that. It just happens to be coincided with money. So the more money you have, the more freedom you have, is how I was thinking. Meeting these people, seeing the smiles, the looks on their faces, of them out and having fun and enjoying that, I wanted that. That's what I wanted. Mm-hmm. And without being funny, that was my number one reason. Mm-hmm. I knew if I was around people like that, even if I couldn't directly talk to them, I knew seeing them and maybe just getting to watch them, maybe getting to people watch, that's what I needed. Yeah. Because I've never seen that before. I'm used to people frowning, people looking at you like, oh, you're kind of big. Are you about to rob me? I'm going to shoot you first. Like, yo, like, what? And it's crazy because I come from an area where you might get shot by the cops. You might get shot by some ratchet mother. Like, yeah. You don't know. You don't know. Everybody's a suspect at that point. Even some of your friends, which I found out the hard way, that tried to take me out over money. So nothing wanted me to stay anywhere near Ohio. Like, I don't even go back to my own like birthday or holidays. Like, you guys, I'll fly you here. No, come see me in paradise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think you made that last point is probably what I would say is probably the best reason for moving to a different place. Yeah. And that's the reason why I moved to Miami as well in general. So like when I used to live in New Jersey, and of course I was part of Mr. Whitey tidy neighborhood. I wasn't part of something crazy. I mean, I was raised in a very poor neighborhood, but when I came to Miami, and in general, this is what I would say about the state of Florida in general, is that like in a place that's cold naturally during the winter, everyone's going to be suffering. They're going to be like, oh, I hate my life. Mm-hmm. Is your life good? No, I hate it too. It's all cold here. Like, and everyone's suffering together. It's like a group a pain bonding experience. But when you go to Miami and you're all alone and you go to like any of the more, I mean, this is probably the same thing in Tampa because Tampa's got a huge suburban area. But when you go and you go to the beach all alone, I'm telling you, that's a different kind of depression because you're gonna be on the beach all alone because you just moved from whatever bumblefuck city to Miami, and you're gonna see young kids, you're gonna see teenagers, you're gonna see families happy on the beach together, these beautiful Latina women, everyone's fit, everyone's working out. It's like very, very, like everyone's happy, and that's during the winter. That's during
Right.
the winter.
Right.
And you look at that experience and your life sucks. Your life completely sucks, which is a great thing because that means that you can ultimately improve it. But
Yep.
if you went back to your home, whatever, if your home country's super cold during the winter and everyone's just suffering together, you're never going to have that consciousness being exposed to you. Because when that happened to me, I was like, you know what? Screw playing tennis anymore. Fuck this stuff. I am going to go get jacked. I'm going to get yacked. I'm going to get my yoke up and make sure that I can, make use of the environment over here. So if you guys are contemplating, let's say you're 17, 16, moving to a different, maybe you're in some bumblefuck country and you want to move to a place like the UAE, like Abu Dhabi, which is very cheap to live there in general and a very high standard of living, then absolutely do it. Even if it's a huge risk of money, absolutely do it. It is the best decision you could ever make in your life. Your life it'll be like you're a baby learning to walk because progression will happen so fast and you force it to happen. Otherwise, you're going to become homeless. So if homeless is not an option in your book, then I do recommend it. But what's your two-piece here for people who are contemplating like leaving the nest, leaving their parents finally?
Nothing worth having you will ever get in a state of comfort. You'll never look like me. You'll never, and what I'm saying, I'm not being cocky or some sort of way. You'll never look like me, which is the body you want, if you're not willing to put yourself in pain to get there. You'll never have the girl you want if you're not willing to go through some pain and a little bit of rejection to get the 9s and 10s. You're never going to have the success, the finances, and the lifestyle you want if you're trying to just work some regular 9 to 5 and play it safe. You'll never get anything you want. You will fail yourself by trying to play safe. And if that's what you want to do, go for it. But that's what you're up against. Everybody else is going to tell you nice. Like, oh, do it. It's the best thing ever. No, not me. If you want to be a loser and stay in your hometown and do the same thing that the same people are doing for the same years after same years after same years, cool, man. Somebody's got to put gas in my car, change my oil, cook my food and shit. I eat a lot, and I like to go out on a lot of
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Bro, be a loser. Because the same people that I've known for years, even that are my best friends, some people I looked up to in high school are still at the same fucking job. Excuse me to use words like that, but it's kind of infuriating because, bro, I was looking up to you before my life went to hell. Like, and it's mind-blowing because the place that he's working at isn't a good one. It's one of those jobs where you literally are making spaghetti, bro. It's a fast food restaurant.
Spaghetti.
Have you ever? You're from up north. You know about Skyline?
I do. That is weird. That's
bro,
so niche. That's so niche. Yeah, that is true.
Bro, like, and it's bad to say, but it's people like that motivated me to keep working hard because I knew what was on the opposite side of not and playing it safe, and that's why I speak the way I do about it. Mm-hmm. You want to be a loser or not, man? Nobody wants to be a loser, but not everybody wants to put in the work and what it takes to be a beast. It don't make any sense to me, man.
Doesn't make any sense to me either, but that's just the way the world works at the end of the day. There's going to be people that have it, and just like Arnold Schwarzenegger would say, if you don't have it, you don't hit it. You don't have it, you don't hit it. So I'm gonna round things off here because I think you just ended with a nuclear bomb explosion of truth bombs, and I think I'm just gonna leave the pain and the shrapnel for everybody to digest there. So
I hope it hurts.
Yeah, me too.
That's what it takes.
Exactly. if he can get shot in the neck once and it can go out the other side of his neck, then you can too.
I mean, I know I'm a big target. Luckily, it missed my neck, but the midsection, bro,
Right,
we
right.
got tore up, man.
I'm not telling you guys to go use yourself as a body. Please don't
Don't.
take that. Don't actually do that. Come on,
Don't.
like it's humor. Come on, guys. Okay.
Rappers make it sound cool. I'm going to
Yeah.
tell you now, it's not cool. You
Yeah.
might get laid a
Don't
couple
do it.
extra times. It's not worth it. Like, this car is cool. I got a cool story, but it's not worth it. Don't do it.
Exactly. The ultimately the lesson here is don't get shot. Basically, don't die.
Miss
So,
bullets, man.
Mr. Coach Mayhem, where can everybody find you so they can spam you with fitness questions? How do I do this? Why is my testosterone so low? And whatnot.
So I will drop you a Beacons link. You can post that when this goes up or however we want to do that. The easiest way to find me and find all of my links at once is literally because everybody seems to have Instagram, right? Go to my Instagram, super easy handle, Coach Mayhem, one word. There it is. Boom.
Boom.
_official. And you go down to my edit little bio thing. I've got a Beacons link. You can find me everywhere there. I'm a pretty easy guy to find.
Boom. You guys know where to find him. Make sure to spam him with as much messages as possible.
Bring it on. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. Bring it on. Absolutely. And if you guys want to know more about how Chris was able to do the same thing, with a skill that you wouldn't even think about that the real world can actually help, but he managed to do that, you can talk to me afterwards, whatever. Message me on Telegram, Instagram, at the Boosco. You know where to find me about that type of stuff. I don't care if you don't join, but I do care if you have a solution to your problem. So, at the end of the day here, guys, I appreciate you all coming. And Chris, thank you so much for spreading some knowledge and spreading some truth bombs, making sure to drop them as much as you can for this to explode. But I think that if you rewatch this, and especially that end part of this, go ahead and rewatch it and try to understand where you're on in terms of this whole chessboard of life situation, and understand that someone's got to flip the burgers, and hopefully it's not you, right? Guys, we're going to see you all in the next one. Peace.